And we begin first up with India. The Met Department has predicted a very heavy rainfall across India, ranging from yellow to red alerts that have been sounded in multiple states. Heavy rainfall is predicted in Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Haryana and even the national capital. Beginning first up with Himachal Pradesh, which is the worst hit state this monsoon season, battered by torrential rains, floods and landslides. Since the month of June, monsoon fury has claimed 91 lives in the state. While rescue and relief operations are underway, the Met Department has issued a fresh warning of more heavy rain in the days ahead. In fact, incessant spell of rainfall in the national capital and adjoining areas over the past 2 days has brought the capital to its knees. 9 people have died in Gurugram and Ghaziabad due to heavy rain-induced incidents. Major roads remain waterlogged. Water has even flowed into houses and traffic has come to a standstill due to knee-deep water at multiple places in the national capital region. For today, the IMD has predicted the weather is likely to remain generally cloudy with light rain accompanied by lightning. The maximum temperature is likely to hover around 31 to 33 degrees Celsius, while the minimum temperature will remain between 23 and 25 degrees Celsius.
On the China-Nepal border, rescue efforts are underway in Rasua district after deadly flooding of the Bodh Koshi River. According to a regional climate monitoring body, the floods were triggered by a draining of supraglacial lake in the Tibet region. So far, 10 bodies have been recovered, while 19 people are still reportedly missing. Our correspondent Saloni Murarka, who has been tracking the disaster, has sent us this report. Take a look.
Nepal's police and army continue the search and rescue operation, and authorities assess the extent of the damage. Nepal's National Disaster Risk Reduction Department officials and ICIMOD say that a definite determined cause of this flood cannot be said at the moment, but it is suspected to be a glacial outburst. Nepal is very vulnerable to monsoon-induced disasters and continue to face substantial human and economic losses every year. At the moment, in this flood, Nepal lost a bridge that connected it with China and helped in trading. Meanwhile, the Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has instructed all the officials to intensify the search and rescue operation and to also expedite the process of an alternative route with China. Saloni Murarka for WION, World is One in Kathmandu, Nepal.
And torrential rains are wreaking havoc in the United States, triggering flash floods across several areas. Hundreds of people have lost their lives while many are said to be missing. In eastern Massachusetts, weather officials have issued a flood watch amid ongoing severe storms. A video shared on social media showed water inundating streets in Weymouth. In North Carolina's High Point, streets have submerged under several feet of water after flooding brought on by powerful storms. Now, according to authorities, 24 people have been rescued from water-related emergencies. 3 people have lost their lives in New Mexico's Ruidoso due to flash floods, while many residents have been left homeless and are staying in hotels and trailer parks.
We don't know yet. We're homeless. I don't know what we're going to do. We're just staying in a hotel now. Find something, I guess. But we're never going to live like in a royal like this. Now probably this is going to be a river.
In Texas, at least 120 people have died from flash floods and more than 160 people are still believed to be missing following July 4th rains. community of Kerr County, worst affected by the floods, is shaken by the aftermath of the tragedy. Residents gathered at a high school stadium to remember a popular soccer coach who died in the devastating flash flooding. Reese Zankir, his wife Paula, and their 2 children died in the flooding.
It hit home. It's like, and then I have call logs where I'm calling him. I'm like, answer the, I'm not gonna cuss, but it's just answer the phone and straight to voicemail every time. So that's why I'm here.
Well, thousands of first responders are still combing through piles of debris to find survivors, with volunteer rescue teams from Mexico also joining in. President Donald Trump is expected to visit the state today. Satellite images from the Cooperative Institute for Research in the Atmosphere showed thunderstorms moving above the eastern coast of the U.S. on July 9th. According to the Research Institute, the storms across the mid-Atlantic uprooted trees from South Carolina to Pennsylvania.
The UN has warned that the world could witness more than 4 million AIDS-related deaths and 6 million more HIV infections by 2029 if gaps created by the withdrawal of American funding cannot be filled. Washington has cut back or frozen billions in aid, including funding for AIDS programs.
We also see that the impact of this disruption, that the disruption itself is not just financial. We also see that there is a backlash against rights, laws, policies that create that enabling environment for people to come forward and get life-saving services.
The UN agency in charge of AIDS said it feared other major donors might also scale back their support, reversing decades of progress against AIDS worldwide.
It's really impacting us negatively because now we need to bring those people that interrupted treatment a long time ago based on different reasons. We need to bring them back to care. But now the question is, how do we reach them? Because some of them, they give us wrong addresses. We can't go to them. We need to teletrace them. But also their resources, they are very limited.
In January, President Donald Trump ordered all foreign aid be suspended. The U.S. had pledged $4 billion to support AIDS programs.
A brewing tariff war between the U.S. and Brazil could soon hit American breakfast tables. Coffee, orange juice, even the beef in your morning sandwich, all could become costlier as the U.S. prepares to impose a 50% tariff on all Brazilian imports starting August 1st. Now, Brazil is the world's largest exporter of both Arabica coffee and orange juice, supplying 1/3 of America's coffee and over half of its juice. The tariff marks a 5-fold jump from the 10% duty introduced in April, and consumers are bracing for the fallout.
As far as we're concerned, there's no risk of that. What happens is that when you have a market as important as the United States, which is the largest consumer of coffee in the world, and Brazil is the second, if you have a tariff increase, you will also have an impact on consumption. That's why I told you about the 76% of Americans who drink coffee, because if you have a tariff, you increase the price of the product, and the impact is two-way. It not only harms the origin, it also harms the consumer.
The U.S. is increasingly reliant on Brazilian farm goods, especially as domestic production falls. Florida's orange harvest is projected to hit an 88-year low, while U.S. orange juice production is headed for a record low due to disease, hurricanes and freezing temperatures. In beef, Brazil has filled critical supply gaps. Imports doubled in the first 5 months of 2025, now making up 21% of all U.S. beef imports. Then lean beef is blended with U.S. meat to make burgers. With American cattle herds at their smallest in over 70 years, Brazil has become a vital supplier. The 50% tariff could push total duties on Brazilian beef to 76%, freezing trade and sending prices higher. Traders say It may no longer be economical to import even a single pound of Brazilian beef. With few viable alternatives and tight global supply, food makers and restaurants face mounting cost pressures. Industry leaders warn that this could hit consumers just as Congress reduces food aid to the most vulnerable. From grocery aisles to restaurant menus, Americans could soon feel the impact of a tariff war, one meal at a time.
Another day, another tariff announcement. This time, Donald Trump took aim at Canada once again, announcing that he was raising taxes on imported goods to 35% on August 1st.
For Mexico. One for Canada, one for Mexico. Yes, sir.
He had already imposed 25% tariffs back in March after months of threats, allegedly to pressure Canada to crack down on fentanyl smuggling, even though there is relatively modest trafficking in the drug from that country. In the latest announcement, he said that the flow of fentanyl is hardly the only challenge we have with Canada, saying it had many tariff and non-tariff policies and trade barriers. Just hours before the announcement, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney posted on X a picture of himself and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, saying that in the face of global trade challenges, the world is turning to reliable economic partners like Canada.
Mr. President, welcome to Canada.
At the G7 summit in June, Carney and Trump said they were committed to reaching a deal within 30 days, with a deadline of the 21st of July. Trump has sent tariff letters to 23 countries so far, including major trading partners like South Korea and Japan.
The militants in Pakistan's southwestern province of Balochistan abducted and shot dead about 12 workers on a bus late on Thursday. The workers were reportedly headed to their workplace from Punjab when they were identified and then targeted near the Sardaki area. The incident happened on the NH40 highway near the Zabul-Lurai border in Balochistan. The gunman reportedly checked the ID cards, then selected the passengers from the Punjab province and then gunned them down. All victims have been identified as men from Punjab. This comes as Balochistan remains the epicenter of violence and coordinated attacks by the Balochistan Liberation Front. The BLF carried out a wave of attacks across multiple districts of the Balochistan province in a major offensive named Operation Bomb. The BLF carried out about 17 coordinated attacks across Panjgur, Kech, Surab and the Karan districts in Balochistan, marking a significant escalation in the Baloch separatist movement. The BLF in fact targeted military checkpoints, communication lines and administrative buildings. While Pakistan's government is yet to confirm the full scale of the casualties of the damage, the BLF has described the operation as a new dawn in the Baloch National Liberation War, further adding that the attacks were carried out to inflict both human and material loss. Local reports indicate widespread disruption and intense search operations by the security forces.
Fragile calm in the Red Sea shattered after months of relative quiet. Houthi rebels have struck once again, sinking 2 ships and killing at least 4 crew members. What's the fallout? Soaring insurance rates, renewed fear for seafarers and escalating costs in one of the world's most vital trade corridors. In just the past week, Houthis sank 2 ships in the Red Sea, killing 4 sailors, leaving others missing. The group saying that these attacks are in support of Palestinians in Gaza, the latest target being the Greek-owned Eternity Sea, with 25 crew members aboard. The assault marking a violent return to a conflict that had eased in recent months. The response from the insurance industry was swift. War risk premiums have more than doubled, rising from 0.3% to 0.7% of a vessel's value. And for some voyages, quotes have reached 1%, matching the highest levels of 2024. And that can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in added costs for every shipment. Some underwriters have already paused coverage on routes through the danger zone. The Houthis have now attacked over 100 ships since November 2023, many flagged or operated by companies with even indirect ties to Israel. Shipping analysts saying even remote connections are being targeted once again, reviving the mid-2024 strategy. Insurers are reacting with caution, making it harder and also more expensive to move cargo through one of the world's busiest trade arteries. With lives lost and costs rising, global shippers are now forced to choose between rerouting or risking the Red Sea. As coverage tightens and premiums climb, pressure is once again mounting on world powers to contain the threat.
Now, China's silent offensive is closing in on America's doorstep. While Washington's gaze was fixed elsewhere, Beijing has quietly woven a dangerous web of control over major seaports across Latin America and the Caribbean. This covert network now threatens to give China the power to spy on U.S. military movements, strangle vital shipping lanes, and even launch a surprise strike on American soil. Here's a report.
Drones buzz overhead. Missiles stand ready. The specter of destruction looms not in some distant theater, but right in the U.S.'s own backyard. A silent, insidious threat tightens its grip around America's very doorstep. China has quietly seized control or pervasive influence over a staggering 37 major seaports spanning Latin America and the Caribbean. The latest analysis from the Center for Strategic and International Studies lays bare a meticulously constructed web of Chinese influence where seemingly innocuous commercial investments are morphing into potential dual-use assets, capable of rapid conversion into military bases. The sheer audacity of this strategy reveals China's long-term geopolitical ambitions. Beijing is exploiting economic vulnerabilities, offering lucrative investments and loans to gain control over critical infrastructure. The Trump administration aggressively pushed back against this expansion, warning that Chinese control of the Panama Canal and how the expanding PLA poses a direct national security threat.
Through its massive military buildup and growing willingness to use military force to achieve its goals, including gray zone tactics and hybrid warfare, China has demonstrated that it wants to fundamentally alter the region's status quo.
As Beijing tightens its stranglehold, the question is clear. Will America wake up before it's too late? Or will the dragon's web ensnare the last line of defense?
Our next story is about cyborg bees. You heard that right. Now, it's a well-known fact that bees play a critical role in the survival of life on the planet. Their role as pollinators is crucial to global food security, nutrition and biodiversity. But bees aren't thriving, and according to the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, there's been a consistent decline in bee populations around the world since the 1990s. Climate change and human activity are the likely culprits. Given all that, is it really a good idea to take bees and then use them as bionic drones? That's precisely what the scientists in China claim to have done. Now, viewers can of course judge for themselves. Bees are pretty special. They can carry nectar sacs that weigh as much as 80% of their body mass. They tuck their legs in like landing gear on airplanes to cut drag, and they can also fly up to 5 kilometers without a breather. Now, despite all the advances in technology, robotics is a long way off from creating a bionic insect that can match a bee's abilities. But humans are pretty clever. Why not just commandeer a bee's brain and tell it what to do? And that's how it's come to pass that a team at the Beijing Institute of Technology has built what it calls the world's lightest insect brain controller. At 74 milligrams, it's lighter than a little sack of nectar. And according to reports that have appeared in the South China Morning Post, the device is strapped to the bee's back and pierces the insect's brain with 3 needles. It creates illusions with electronic pulses to command the flight, turn left, turn right, advance, retreat, And according to a peer-reviewed paper published earlier this year in the Chinese Journal of Mechanical Engineering, test results have shown that the hapless bee getting zapped by these electrical pulses complies over 90% of the time, and it can do much better than a bionic robot. Now, Professor Zhao Jiliang, who's leading the project, has said, and I quote, "Compared to synthetic alternatives, they demonstrate enhanced stealth and extended operational endurance, making them invaluable for covert reconnaissance in scenarios such as urban combat, counter-terrorism and narcotics interdiction, as well as critical disaster relief operations." The team hopes that cyborg bees could serve as military scouts or search for survivors in the ruins of an earthquake. Now, Zhao added that insect-based robots inherit the superior mobility, camouflage capabilities and environmental adaptability of their biological hosts. It's not the first time that humans have tried to commandeer insects. A cyborg controller was developed in Singapore a few years back. Much heavier, it could only be used to command beetles and roaches, and those didn't move fast enough and fatigued pretty quickly. And according to the Straits Times newspaper, 10 cyborg cockroaches were deployed to help the Singapore search and rescue team following the 7.7 magnitude earthquake in Myanmar in March 28 this year. Now, these insect-robot hybrids, essentially Madagascar hissing cockroaches, fitted with tiny backpacks containing infrared cameras and sensors to detect human heat signatures. Nations have engaged in an intense race on cyborg tech. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency used to take the lead, with Japan trailing closely, but now China is smashing records in this field, thanks to ample government funding and also a booming electronics industry. The next frontier is to create cyborg insects that can operate autonomously. Now, we're all for technology, but you have to feel for the cricketers. They simply did not sign up for this.
un monsieur qui est sorti par sa fenêtre, il va récupérer. Il y a quelqu'un qui va récupérer le bébé là. Voilà, il s'est voisin juste à côté. C'est bon, il a le bébé dans les bras, Au nom de Dieu, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Ils sont au 6e étage. Là, ils vont faire sortir les garçons. Oui, il y avait un autre bébé encore. Il y a 2 bébés? Il y avait 2 bébés. Lui, il doit avoir 1 an, je pense. Ok. Mesquine. Oui, en fait, il y a le voisin du bâtiment. À côté, il a récupéré les enfants. Là, il y a les 2 bébés qui sont sortis. Non, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Putain. Oui. Là, c'est bon. C'est bon. Le 3e enfant, il est passé. Et là, il y a le 4e enfant qui est en train de passer. Monsieur le fait, il est en train de descendre dans les bâtiments d'en bas. Ça a touché le 2e étage et le 3e étage. C'est en train de toucher tous les étages là. Oh, et je peux dire quoi aux gens? Personne ne sautait là pour l'instant. Personne n'a sauté. Là c'est bon, au 6e tout le monde est sorti. Tout le monde est sorti au 6e étage. Là tout le monde est sorti au 6e étage. Mais au 3e étage, il y a 2 hommes encore qui galèrent à sortir. Mais qu'est-ce qu'il fait? Non mais il faut pas qu'il descende, il va se faire mal. Mais qu'est-ce qu'il fait? Mais comment il s'appelle? En plus c'est l'ami à papa lui. Descends pas! Monsieur! Mais putain, descends pas! Non! Descends pas! Non! Ils arrivent! Les pompiers arrivent! Ils arrivent! Monsieur! Putain, mais je fais quoi là?
When all hope is lost and there's no end in sight, lift up your eyes.